Welcome back to a Monday edition of Morning Express. Usually, with the Mondays come much talk about the political and economic situation of the country. But this Monday, just to let you know that we also have our viewers at heart, we'll also be talking about how to address toxic stress. Now, this at the time when the cost of living crisis is quite high and going into the ember months with the festivities, a lot of persons are working twice as hard to try and level up. Joining us on the program this morning is a wellness coach, Ojeme Okosun. Good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, good morning again. It's wonderful to have you in the studio. Just before you walked in, Bito had asked a very pertinent question. What is toxic stress?
So toxic stress in general, it's the damage that is caused by an overload of emotion that is imprinted on the level of the nervous system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can you simplify that?
So when you're going through something, when you have pains, when you are an overload of emotions
Yes.
can be happy emotions, sad emotions. A lot of people don't know that happy emotion can lead to stress. You know.
Well, I'm finding out for the first time.
Yeah. When you have an overload of happy or sad emotion, it can be imprinted. The damage can be imprinted on the level of your nervous system.
Yes.
And then that is stress on the level of your nervous system. Okay. Now, whether you're young, old, I mean, lately we have like our kids, suffering from this stress. It's not just peculiar to adults. Like we would say, adulthood that's scam.
Yes.
It's not just peculiar to adults. So kids can also be exposed to this level of stress.
To toxic stress.
Yes, they can.
Well, in still talking about stress in general, that's also related to the current economic situation of the country. It's not news that day in, day out, Nigerians wake up each day and there is always news of something that has made the economy even more difficult, or the fact that they are Nigerians more difficult and unbearable. And Nigerians have been attributed to be resilient people. They can always survive in any condition. But are we really living, or are we merely existing? And how much of an impact does this have on Nigerians' mental health and stress levels?
I mean, in trying to give you an idea of what you're talking about, I would like to explain stress using the 3 states of consciousness.
All right.
So we have the waking state, which is what we are right now.
Yes.
You are aware, you are alert, you are self-aware, and you're having thoughts, okay? Now, on this level, this is where the stress is being acquired, because you interact with people, you have activities, you have muscular activities, and then you acquire the stresses. That is imprinted on your nervous system. Now, if you allow the body, it has the ability to eliminate the stresses if you give it the opportunity.
Yes.
Because naturally, I mean, the stress is a foreign material on the level of the nervous system. So if you give the nervous system the opportunity, it will kick it out. Now, the sleep state of consciousness, which is another state of consciousness, is a state where you are not aware of yourself, zero self-awareness, and zero thought. So you are sleeping, fully rested, you don't know what is happening in your environment, your metabolic rate is low, your muscular activity is relatively low, you are just there. Okay, now in that state, the body functions in a different way. It just starts eliminating like the fatigue of the day, the normal tiredness you have acquired during the day.
Yeah.
It just sweeps it out. Okay, that is to tell you that the nervous system has that ability to kick out.
And then you wake up and say, oh, I had a very good night's rest.
Yes.
Okay.
And I could tell you categorically that a day that you had a very good sleep, like 8 hours of sleep, when you come into work, how is your reaction to your colleagues? You're mostly energetic,
Happier.
You're mostly happy, you're at peace with people.
Yeah.
I mean, even if somebody attacks you that morning, you take a back before you react.
Yeah.
Your reaction time to those kind of things will be minimal, very minimal. Now, another state of consciousness is the dreaming state of consciousness. Now, in the dreaming state of consciousness, there is no self-awareness, but you are having thoughts. So everything that plays out in your mind when you're dreaming,
You feel haunted in your dreams, you have nightmares.
These
in your
are
dreams.
thoughts.
Or you're trying to run away and you can't run away. And then
Yes, these are thoughts.
Okay.
But then your body is functioning in a way that, your muscular activity is also not there, So you're not able to act out some of this dream, even though you're jumping and all of that.
Yeah.
You can't jump from your bed.
It's just in your head.
It's just in your head. So your thought is playing out.
Yeah.
Now, in that state, some level of stresses are being eliminated. Okay, some level of stresses that you've acquired, but it's limited in a way. Now, there is another state of consciousness, okay, where you have zero awareness, right? And then, no, you're fully aware of yourself, rather. You're fully aware of yourself, and then there is no thought. That state is called the transcendental state of consciousness.
Somewhat like a meditation.
Yes.
Or a trance.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Right.
wait, that's trance. That's
That
trance.
is a state
Okay.
of consciousness. You are there, you are seated for 20 minutes with your eyes closed.
Yes.
Okay. Now you are fully aware of yourself. You are experiencing yourself, but then you have zero thoughts. Now what happened in that state of consciousness is this. You are restful, and then at the same time you are alert. Okay. Now, in that state, your body gains a unique state of rest, a unique state of deep rest. That rest you get in that state is deeper than the rest you get when you close your eyes to sleep. Okay, and then I'm saying this, everything I'm going to say, every point I'm going to say is backed by science. Okay, there are researches that have gone into it. Transcendental meditation is one of the most researched meditation technique in the world as it is right now.
How does this compare to yoga? Because I've seen a similar statement made by persons who practice yoga, saying they also experience something similar to what you're looking to explain.
Yes, they are similar. Yoga is having that union with yourself. Okay, so you are fully aware of yourself. Okay, now in that state, you gain that unique state of deep rest, and then all your stresses, deep-rooted stresses, traumatic stresses, they start finding their way out. You are giving the body that opportunity to eliminate all the stresses from your nervous system. Now, when these stresses start finding its way out, then you start having the benefit of transcendental meditation. Okay, you start experiencing it in the area of your mind development. So when you are in that state, there is a high EEG coherence. So different parts of your brain functions in a more holistic way. There's this coherence between the different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
Okay. When that is happening, we know that by science that, a high coherence of the brain is associated with high productivity level, high creativity level. Your reaction time is associated with a lot of good stuff. Okay. And then another area you can enjoy the benefits is in the area of your health. Now, normally, when we are stressed, our body secretes, a hormone called cortisol, right? And then when our mind is aware that, oh, there's cortisol in my system, your body will secrete even more cortisol to combat the cortisol. So what happens is you end up becoming more and more anxious. And then this
anxiety sets in.
Yes, and this we know, is associated with a lot of ill health like blood pressure and all of that. But then the deep rest you get during transcendental meditation calms you down. Okay, it calms you down. It gives you that relaxation, and then the stresses starts finding their way out. You are giving the body the opportunity to just heal itself. Now, another area you can enjoy the benefit is in the area of good social behavior. Now, when you are calm, you are at peace with yourself, you are self-aware. When you interact with people, you interact with people based on that level.
Yeah.
With much understanding, with much love, with much appreciation of them. And if I give you love, you would only but give me back, no matter how mean you are. You will give me love back.
You mentioned that in the transcendental meditation state, you are aware of yourself. You know that you are alive, you know your environment, but you don't have any thoughts.
Yes.
How can somebody be without thoughts at any given time?
Yes.
It appears as if the only time you can be without thoughts is when you are asleep, and even when you are asleep, you are dreaming. So there has to be some thought. Please, I believe just as much as the viewers out there, I'm confused. Can you make it any more simpler than you have stated?
It's very, very possible.
Okay.
It's very possible for you to be self-aware and you don't have thoughts. And like I said, that state is another state of consciousness. It exists. It has been discovered by science.
Do you train to do that, or how do you achieve it? In keeping your mind more or less without thought? Do you train for it, or is there a guide on to how to do that?
Of course, there is. You talk to a certified teacher of transcendental meditation. He will just direct you on how to go. But that silent part that you experience when you're self-aware is inherent. Every individual, small, old, educated, uneducated, everybody has that silent field in the person. Okay, I mean, it's what science has discovered, physicists has discovered to be the unified field. Okay, everybody has it. Everybody has the ability to.
Or is it? Yes.
But we have lost. Because we are not taught that way. Because we've not been trained yet. We don't know it yet. So that is the place of a certified teacher to point you in that direction, and then you experience it.
Or is it what most men call the nothing box? where a man can just sit and probably staring into a body of water or just staring into a beautiful garden, and there's absolutely nothing in his head. Is that the same thing?
I don't know what that is. That was why I giggled.
Well, Bito, I believe Bito knows what a nothing box is.
A lot of times, a lot of people look at you or are caught staring at you, and then when you talk to them, you discover that they are not actually even looking at you. They're just staring into oblivion.
Okay. With Transcendental Meditation, being in that state, you have to shut out all your senses.
So you probably close your eyes.
Yes. Okay. So your senses has to be shut out. It's just you observing yourself.
It has to also be done probably in a quiet environment. No music, no distractions.
Yes. No music, no distractions.
Well, what would you say about some certain types of sounds or music, not necessarily music with the drums and piano or anything, but just sound frequency that people use for meditations? Are there sound frequencies that can be used for transcendental meditation?
No, please.
And what do you subscribe to the usage of such particular sound frequencies for meditation?
I can only say what I practice.
Okay.
I can't say for someone else. Okay, what I practice is basically simple. Okay, Transcendental Meditation, you just sit twice a day with your eyes closed. That is morning and evening. Comfortably, you sit comfortably with your eyes closed and just experience yourself
for a period of 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes.
So now I'm trying to put this vis-a-vis what a lot of persons experience in a day-to-day setting, twice a day. For a typical person who has to make ends meet, most people are out of their houses before it is 6 a.m. Some do not come back till it's 10 p.m. having to battle with traffic and all this. Is there something that can be done on the weekends, or if people have the luxury of time, should it be twice a week or each day?
This is what I will say to my students when they bring out this point. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to, just like shooting a bow and arrow, you stretch the bow back with the arrow in it, right? And then when you're sure you can hit the target, you release, so it hits the target. It's just basically simple. Would you want to take out 20 minutes and then start your day and enjoy a more fruitful and more impactful day? Or you will launch into your day and then you just struggle around at the end of the day, probably achieving nothing. Which would you prefer?
To draw back.
Very good. So draw back 20 minutes. 20 minutes is so short a time to gather all the momentum you need to launch into your activity. I mean, but we have tested it. It's trusted that 20 minutes twice a day would significantly impact on your life if you just practice it with your eyes closed, sitting down, and then, but of course you have to talk to a certified teacher who will guide you on how to go about these things, and you just enjoy a more productive day.
Well, let's talk about the awareness of what you do as, a wellness coach, the transcendental meditations and all. It's not something very common, especially with Nigerians. When people think of meditation, or when people hear of meditation, they think it's just something where you close your eyes, you keep your hands like a Buddhist monk, and how do you enlighten people to understand that, hey, meditation can be an everyday or a part of your everyday life? It doesn't have to be a special ceremony. It doesn't have to be in an organized setting with other people. You don't have to go to another place. You can meditate in your room all by yourself and heal yourself of toxic stress.
I mean, you've just said it perfectly. You just said it perfectly.
Well, let's hear from the master now.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, when you go through with enjoying this period, sitting. It's not a religion, because we have this misconception here in this part of the world that, oh, anything that is not my religion is something that I don't understand and I don't want to associate myself with it. Now, Transcendental Meditation is not a religion. It's not a philosophy. In fact, if you are 100% skeptical about the practice, you will still get the desired result, because it's just like solving a mathematical equation. When you use formulas, you arrive to a range of answers, right? And your answers cannot go above or below. It will definitely arrive at that.
Yes.
So that is how it is. So we don't need you to have faith. We just need you to learn. We don't need you to feel like, oh, it's a religion, because it is not. I mean, we have pastors, we have reverend fathers, we have Muslims who practice Transcendental Meditation. We have traditionalists who practice Transcendental Meditation. It's for me, I feel like it cuts across all religion. And then when you start practicing Transcendental Meditation, whatever your concept of God is, you would appreciate it even more. Whatever it is. If you feel like stone is your God, if you feel Jesus is your God, if you feel... I'm a Christian, right?
I was going to ask what is your concept of God?
I am a Christian.
Okay.
Very, dedicated Christian.
Yeah.
Now, my relationship with God has increased significantly when I started meditation. I can tell you for a fact. I can tell you for a fact.
Well, let's still talk about the skepticism that people have, especially towards meditation, towards yoga. As common as yoga might seem or appear, there are people who are afraid of yoga, thinking when
there's some soul exchange.
Yes, there's some soul exchange somewhere. Is there a soul exchange somewhere?
There is no soul exchange anywhere. What I practice.
No, I'm asking questions based on what I know people would want to hear from you today. Is there or is there not a soul exchange in yoga or transcendental meditation that you practice and teach?
In transcendental meditation, there is no soul exchange. It is not a religion. There is no spirituality in this thing. It's pure science.
And the mind.
Pure science. Just you and your mind. And you'll be amazed how powerful your mind is. How you can just set an intention and achieve it. And of course, I mean, what we believe as Christians, that we say, oh, have faith and all of that, it all starts with your mind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just bank on that natural tendencies of your mind, and then you watch how amazing things will just turn out. Your perception about life, your approach to life, your approach to situations, everything about you will just change. And there is no rules and regulation as to don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Spontaneously you start making right decisions, because there is high coherence. There's high coherence in different parts of your brains. Okay, so spontaneously you start performing right actions. Spontaneously you start doing things. Your productivity level will just increase.
Are there specific types of foods that you have to avoid or you have to take? Well, no.
I understand where Chijoke is coming from.
I'm very interested in this, because after this show I might partake in the transcendental meditation.
Because when you talk about wellness, and much like some of our viewers will agree, it's lifestyle choices. Because talking about stress in general, from whether you wake up at a certain time of the day or go to bed at a certain time of the day, each activities we may do, either consciously or unconsciously, build up to what our stress levels are. So when he's asking the question, does it also start from what you consume? Because how do individuals know that the stress I'm experiencing each day has reached the said toxic stress level? And in practicing transcendental meditation, is there also a way to gauge how well my body is relieved of this stress beyond the high productivity level like you just said?
Of course, there is.
Okay.
And let me address him.
All right.
You don't have to stick to a particular diet or a particular thing.
I don't have to be a vegetarian.
You don't have to be a vegetarian.
I'm safe.
I eat flesh.
All right.
Okay, so, I mean, you don't have to be a vegetarian. And to yours, please point your questions again. I think I lost that.
So basically, my question is from when you manage stress, are there levels that you now know that, I have reached a toxic stress level? Is it with body fatigue? Are there headaches? Are there symptoms to look out for in going about your day-to-day for individuals to now know this is my stress level, or I'm at the risk of toxic stress?
Of course. Like you pointed, the doctors will tell you, you start having headaches, you start reacting to things you ordinarily would not react to.
Yeah.
Your reaction will be like very, very negative. You start.
We see it in traffic. People screaming at each other.
Yeah,
people
stuff
getting
like
into
that.
fights.
You would know that at that level, your stress level is really high. But then don't wait until it gets, that high, okay? Because normally with us being in this, state of consciousness where we are aware of ourselves and then we are having a lot of thought and all of that, we acquire stress, okay? I mean, I might not like the way your light is beaming. It will imprint in my nervous system at some level of stress. So you don't have to wait until it gets to that toxic level before you start looking for solutions for it. So once you know that it's interacting with people, you acquire some level of stress. I mean, a good sleep is fine. It's very good. 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep, whichever one you can give your body. But then transcendental meditation too is another kind of state of consciousness that can, give you a deeper rest, a unique state of rest, and then it just keep eliminating the stresses. And it can be done, immediately and cumulatively. So immediately in the sense that the regular stresses you acquire, I mean, once you sit in your first sitting, you will experience stress release. And then for the deep-rooted ones that has been tangled in your nervous system, those ones that have been there like for long, some that you don't even remember. Okay. When you sit cumulatively, they start getting softened up, and then they look for a way to come out.
So I was going to ask, talking about transcendental meditation, does it help in any way in resolving the issue of anxiety disorders, depression, or panic attacks?
Definitely yes.
Okay.
In fact, in the US, they use it for their veterans who have severe, PTSD is the chronic, is the acute stress level, right? They use it for their veterans, but of course you have to sign up for it. They use it for their veterans to help them combat PTSD.
Yeah.
Now it is for the US government to, want to try and introduce
like
certify it, to validate transcendental meditation. That there must have been a lot of researches. Like I pointed earlier, transcendental meditation is the most researched meditation technique in the world as it stands today. Okay, and then see, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Please walk us through the process. I believe Bito is also interested in the meditation process.
Very, very shortly before we get into that,
okay.
And just to also, more like certify your practice, would like to find out how long have you been into the practice of transcendental meditation?
I started transcendental meditation in 2019.
Yeah.
And then I became a certified teacher of transcendental meditation last year. And as it stands in Nigeria today, we are just 2 teachers.
In the whole country?
Yes, please.
Well, we are honored to have you here.
And we would grow.
Now to Chijoke's practical free lecture for those watching. I know it's more like 20 minutes, might be a lot of time on the show, but from the angle he's coming from is something I can relate to. There are certain cultural barriers to certain type of stress reliefs that we don't practice in Nigeria. It's not so common to talk to a counselor. It's also not so common to talk to a shrink or go through therapy. And from his angle of question is basically that preparation for which individuals who want to practice transcendental meditation, are there steps to be taken to achieve this state of being? Because a lot of persons have a lot on their mind, I must tell you. People are thinking about the rent. People are thinking about how to buy fuel. People are thinking about how to put food on the table.
Electricity tariff is another issue.
So when you tell a Nigerian to sit for 20 minutes and
do nothing,
their mind, it seems like a tough ask. So can you walk us through this preparation on how to clear your mind to sit for 20 minutes and meditate?
Okay. Now, starting from the part where you talk about our cultural differences here in this part of the world, where we don't really subscribe to going to talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist, and all of that, I would say that transcendental meditation is a much more easier way to do it. So you don't have to go and start paying for therapists and all of that, because what you do is you just meet a teacher once, and in learning it, there are 7 steps. Okay, in learning transcendental meditation, there are 7 steps. The first step being an intro lecture, where we tell you what Transcendental Meditation is, what it is not, areas of benefit of Transcendental Meditation. And if you want to proceed, you come in for prep, where we tell you where the knowledge is coming from and the requirements to learn the knowledge. Okay. And then we go into an interview where we get to know you, and then you sign off on some legalities. Okay. And then the fourth state is where you're being instructed with the knowledge. Okay. And immediately you're instructed, you enjoy that unique state of rest.
So we can't have that instruction here live on air.
No, you can't.
I will have. I think I need to sign up for this much later after the show, Peter, because I for one, I've had my own fair share of toxic stress. I've had my own fair share of having to deal with some with some sort of anxiety and all. You know, and one thing that has helped me is maybe not necessarily meditation, but sleep. When I get lots of sleep, it's like the stress just washes away. But I want something that is, you know, more sustainable. Not just sleep is an everyday thing, yeah. But it appears that the Transcendental Meditation, with all you have said, is a technique that can not only take away that stress, but also introduce me to newer and better ways of living. And I believe, Vito, you share the same thoughts.
It is indeed one of those most common thought practices, especially when you're listing out these 7 steps of prep. It's also from the point of people who have to probably take medication to sleep. You know, the categories of persons.
Insomnia.
Yes, people live with certain ailments like diabetes, high blood pressure, that they're on medication daily. So if you have something that is not medication, that's probably not also as expensive as that is bringing some sort of relief, especially mentally, I think a lot of persons, much like Chijioke, would be willing to try it out.
Yeah, sure.
So you could go on with we're step 2 or 3 now?
No, so the 5th step.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The 5th step, it's a first day of check-in, second day of check-in, and third day of check-in. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th step. Okay. Now you come in with your experiences after you've learned it, after you've been instructed. You go home, practice, and come back with your experiences. We give you intellectual understanding of your experiences. You go again, come back with your experiences. We give you intellectual understanding, and then the final day, you go, come back, we give you intellectual understanding of your experiences. And then there is a 10th day, you have to come in just for us to check your experiences and just give you some knowledge.
A 10th day?
Yes, please.
So you consistently do it for 10 straight days?
No, please.
3 days first?
Yes. So all these steps can happen in 3 consecutive days.
Okay.
Right? And then you come on the 10th day.
After the first?
After the first...
the first 3 days?
Yes, 4 consecutive days. After the first 4 consecutive days, you come in on a 10th day.
On the 10th day, yeah.
Yeah. And you're good to go. It's with you for life. do with it as you please.
You've now become a certified transcendental meditator.
Yes, you've become a meditator.
Beautiful.
And you can use the knowledge for life.
Now let's talk about the place of this in society, because one thing I picked out from when you started your conversation was a happier individual who interacts better with people in society. Now, it had become a trend post-pandemic. A lot of Nigerians, quite sadly so, captured on bridges trying to jump off. A lot of people feeling like life has become too overwhelming for them to go through each day and be better individuals. Society on its own adds to such pressure, not even stress. People feeling like they have to level up. The underemployment statistics, and even this morning on one of the dailies, it was talking about how experts are underscoring employees' mental health and the rising workplace depression. These issues, beyond stress, put Nigerians at somewhat of a risk of sinking into depression. Does this practice somewhat reduce the tendencies of more Nigerians to be, in quotes, depressed?
Yes. That's the answer to that. I mean, you know, we've seen like a lot of corporate organizations too, outside Nigeria, of course, who have, you know, spoken to their HR to get their workers signed up for, you know, as a corporate entity, to sign their workers up for Transcendental Meditation, because if you have a healthy worker, if you have a worker who is sound mentally, is sound physically, he is able to give you the productivity level that you desire for your business to grow. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, same thing here. If we are able to, first of all, understand that when we invest in the mental health and physical health of our workers, they would give us the productivity that we desire, then isn't it worth the try?
Oh, it is. It is worth the try.
Well, it's an interesting point of the show, and I'm very sure those joining in are wondering on a Monday, away from our current affairs-driven conversations, we thought it wise to also invite a wellness coach, Ojeme Okosun, who is with us in the studio, and she'll be talking about transcendental meditation and addressing toxic stress. Now, it's quite a very simple practice. She subscribes that you do it twice a day, say in the morning and before you go to bed. 20 minutes of sitting and meditating without no thoughts in your head. She's also talked about 3 main states of consciousness and a 4th one, which happens to be transcendental meditation. This conversation will be available for you to rewatch it on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions for those watching live now, feel free to drop them in the comments. Now, coming back to this conversation, you'd have a lot of persons who probably have gone through this practice, and as we are as a country with a population of over 200 million persons, my concern now is that there are just 2 of you in the country currently. Is this conversation not getting the much needed awareness it deserves? And if no, how well do you think that this message can better reach more persons in Nigeria?
I think with what we are doing right now, I think it will reach a couple of people, more than I even imagine.
Yeah.
Because all we need right now is for this information to just get out there, to create the awareness, for us to be visible enough for people to subscribe to it. And then you would just be amazed how significant a simple thing like transcendental meditation could turn your life holistically around. Okay, so whatever your reasons are for, subscribing to transcendental meditation, it can just be as simple as mine. Mine was just sleep. And then I experienced a 360-degree change of every aspect of my life, because at that point you would be able to understand God clearly. At that point you'll be able to understand yourself first. Okay, you'll be able to understand yourself first, and every other thing around you, it will be simple. I listened to one talk about, one man was trying to, explain, talk about how drug abuse has become very rampant in the Nigerian society. He was delivering a talk, and then he said, yes, a lot of people are going through a lot, given that the stress level is high, whether we acquired it ourselves or we, due to peer pressure and all of that, we have, acquired it ourselves, or the society itself, it is been wired to give us that stress. Whatever the reasons are, you acquire stress on a daily. And now people are looking for escape routes, right? And then they go to drug, use of drug, indulging, drug abuse, alcoholism, and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, he said, and I quote, that is also a solution. Yes, it is a solution.
But not a good one.
Is that solution a good one? And is that solution sustainable? Because at the end of the day, when the influences leaves you, your problem comes back.
Yeah. you're faced with the reality.
Yeah, once you sober up, you are faced with that reality that you're trying to.
And when you don't want to face the reality, you drink again almost immediately. That leads to alcoholism.
Yes. And then, but if you are exposed to transcendental meditation, as simple as it is a very simple, natural, effortless, practice. Okay, as simple as it is, if you are able to just go through with it, you just start having that communication with yourself. You start understanding yourself better, and it puts you in a position where you value yourself better. And there are certain decisions you cannot take because it will be against you. You experience the you in you.
Now, is there a reason why there are only 2 certified teachers of transcendental meditation in Nigeria? Is this because of its unpopularity in the country, or is this because of its rarity in terms of how important it is? So not everybody has access to it. Is this some sort of
westernized practice? Because in the US, like you said, there's much practice, and much like he's asking here, I talked about cultural barriers, but now from his perspective of asking this question, the unpopularity, is it because it's a Western idea?
I would not say that. I would say that maybe we have not, I just became a teacher like last year, okay, and I'm the second teacher.
And the other one became a teacher when, or has been a teacher since when?
For a while, but she's not fully based here in Nigeria.
So,
She comes
did you train? Did you train here to become a teacher, or outside of Nigeria?
I trained outside of Nigeria.
Okay.
I trained outside of Nigeria, but now I'm here.
But like every,
and I'm back.
But more like every education we've had, more like educations that come from other parts of the country.
Yeah.
We had our culture growing up, but education was always borrowed, and whereas it works and becomes a thing, it now gains popularity. People now practice to be doctors. People practice to be engineers. People fly outside Nigeria to gain acquired knowledge. Do you think that this would become some sort of, let me even start at the basic level for children, like you said, PE, physical education in school, where during PE games, some certain children, especially those who have anxiety disorders or whatever the case is, are also taught how to go through transcendental meditation?
Yes. I look forward to the time where transcendental meditation will be part and parcel of our schools here in Nigeria. I mean, it's part of the bigger pictures where students are exposed to transcendental meditation before they get into class and receive the knowledge for the day, or they get instructed by their teachers, or they go through their educational routine. I mean, because it is so much, like, it will be more impactful when they have, reasoned their coherence of their brain to that high alpha level, and they are able to assimilate even more of whatever it is they are being taught in class.
Yeah.
You can agree with me that our educational system is not so dear yet. I mean, I know that if we introduce this, it will position us in a very good space educationally. I am very sure of that, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to partnering with schools, as many schools, who are willing to, have us come around and do a project with their school and just instruct children.
I was going to come to the issue of collaborations with schools and all of that, but looking away from schools, you mentioned that in places like the US or other parts of the world, companies or organizations have adopted the usage of transcendental meditation for their staff collectively, to be able to help them deal with workplace stress. Is this in line with, are you doing anything in line with this, initiative to push for organizations within the country to start adopting this, not just schools now, but even government or private institutions within the nation to adopt this?
Yes, I mean, yes, we are looking forward to that. We are, still in the drawing boards, but then we are looking forward to it big time.
So you haven't made any move yet? You're just campaigning online and on air?
Yes, please. I just came.
Okay.
So I'm trying.
You just got here?
Yes, I just got here. So I'm trying to just gain balance and test the waters a bit, and just be here.
Well, let's hope that perhaps the Nigerian populace sort of adopts what you have brought back to the country. And just as much as I am interested in this, I believe a lot of people are certainly interested in understanding transcendental meditation, and it will help, because Nigerians are stressed. I'm not even going, I don't have to say it for you to know that Nigerians are stressed.
I felt it when I landed.
Well, it might be one of those atmospheres, but in Nigeria, much like Chijoke has said, there's also that palpable stress in the air. You feel it while you're driving through traffic, either two drivers hurling insults at each other, or persons engaging in fisticuffs in public, showing you their anxiety or showing you their frustration level at the state of being in the country. But transcendental meditation, much like Ojeme is advocating for, might have also been one of those viral videos. If we have more testimonials, I think the place of testimonials is another part we probably would want to explore, having persons who have experienced it give testimonials about it. Have you thought about that? Do you think it would be one of those places to explore?
Yes, please. It's one of those places we are exploring at the moment.
Well, why I'm asking is because I don't know if you've also seen a viral video of fourth grade students in China, much like you said, during classes. Those fourth grade students during classes had their teacher engage them in calisthenics for a said similar benefit. It says it was supposed to improve their cognitive awareness during studies in class. And a lot of schools are now adopting it from that viral video. It went viral on TikTok, first of all, just to be specific. And now we're looking at schools in Lagos adopting something similar? That's why I was asking that question.
Oh, okay. I've not seen the video you're talking about. I'm not too social media inclined.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something we are looking forward to. It's something we are really looking forward to, getting us out there, collaborating with schools, collaborating with a lot of private, whatever, so that people will just have this opportunity to experience this amazing technique that will just help elevate their stress and then give them a holistic, change in their lives.
Now, for some people who pass through other traumas, and this is coming from another issue that has become more prominent, people are opening up about it, being in toxic relationships. Because I can't help but notice the word toxic stress, and I'm feeling like replacing
or toxic marriages.
Toxic marriages. Does this help in any way?
Of course. I mean, they are all they're all acute stresses. And if the most high on that list is PTSD, okay, it's been addressed by Transcendental Meditation. Of course, the smaller ones too can be addressed by Transcendental Meditation.
Let's talk about self-healing. A lot of wellness coaches, much like yourself, have ascribed to the fact that meditation or yoga or some sort of lifestyle could help in, self-healing. You don't have to take pharmaceutical medication. You don't even have to take herbal medicine or anything like that. That your body is capable of healing itself of ailments. Is this true, firstly? And does transcendental meditation also aid in this, and how?
Okay. Yes, it is true.
Okay.
And then transcendental meditation does that by when you enjoy that deep state of rest, right? Like I said, it's deeper than the rest you get when you close your eyes to sleep. And we know this by science because it's been proven, okay? Now, we know also that the only thing that can eliminate stress is rest, deep rest.
Yeah.
And we also know that if you have stresses in your nervous system, diseases, illnesses, they can thrive. Stresses is like fertilizer that gives nourishment to diseases and all those negativity in your nervous system. Now, if you are able to deal with the root cause of your stress, if you are able to deal with that root cause, which is stress.
First, that means you have to first identify it.
It's stress. We know that it's stress.
What I mean is, what's stressing you?
Not necessarily what's stressing you,
okay.
But if you have that ability to be able to eliminate the stress as soon as they come. It's just like I cited an example with you having a good sleep at night.
Yeah.
You acquired fatigue during the day, right? But then you slept for 8 hours and then the fatigue is gone. So whatever it is, if by the way the society functions or if by the pressure you're putting on yourself, you acquire the stresses, on a daily, you can eliminate them on a daily. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening.
To wash it off.
You just wash it off and then keep your nervous system as clean as possible.
Yeah.
So if your nervous system, the more stress that leaves your nervous system, the more of that self-awareness you are able to enjoy for a longer time. And with that comes with benefits like, the ability of, healing yourself, but of course there's a place of diet too. Okay.
So that was why
diet. I'm not saying being a vegetarian.
that was why I asked earlier.
Our food is good enough. Our vegetable soup, our ogbono soup, whatever it is, there should be a balance.
Yes.
You need to, you need to make sure that you are enjoying the 6 classes of food.
When I was asking about about dieting, whether dieting has anything to do with the effectiveness of transcendental meditation, I wasn't just asking about being a vegetarian or not. I was asking about whether there are some certain foods that you're supposed to run away from. Are you supposed to take alcohol? Or are you not supposed to take alcohol? These are the questions. If I get back home and I want to relax, and the only thing that I know would get me relaxed apart from sleep is to probably get a bottle of red wine and sit and drink, and then I get relieved. Can I drink my wine and then still go ahead and do the transcendental meditation?
I mean, if you must, why not? If your nervous system is craving for it.
I can't answer that because I don't know anything about transcendental meditation.
I'm coming to it. So if your nervous system is craving for anything, just feed it.
Okay.
But as much as possible, feed your nervous system with foods that are natural.
Wine is natural. It's grape. it's fermented grape.
If you are sure that you know how it is in Nigeria.
Well, I do.
But at the same time, I mean, feed your nervous system. That's on a lighter note.
Yeah.
But just feed your nervous system with natural food. Let your food that you consume be the medicine that your body needs.
Yes.
It shouldn't be all the pills and all of that. So if you have to eat rice, by all means, eat rice. Eat with some nice vegetable stew or some nice, you know what I mean?
Something healthy.
Something healthy.
Yeah.
And as much as possible, we know that anything that is man-made has some level of effects, right? Some negativity to it, okay? So just stick to the natural food stuff.
Yes.
Stick to the natural food, and then you're good. Eat it in proportions. Eat it, make sure your diet is balanced.
6 glasses of food is
just
also
make
balanced
sure,
within your diet.
Make sure your diet is balanced, and you're good to go.
Now, in closing, a lot of people will be taking notes and looking to build up a daily routine following some of the conversations we have for a better lifestyle. It was not long before now that people began to say the body needs 8 hours of sleep. 8 became the figure to look out for. People began to say each day you need at least 8 glasses of water. Now, maybe 20 minutes now is becoming the conversation as it comes to transcendental meditation. Do you think in keeping, there's some of these numbers to look out for that people need to normalize in their everyday routine, day-to-day routine, much like 8 glasses of water when you wake up, 8 hours of sleep? Do you think we're now going to be having the conversations of 20 minutes of transcendental meditation as the basic for individuals?
Yes. I mean, why not?
Or can people go beyond? If people have the time, probably do 30 minutes or 1 hour.
20 minutes is just fine. It's just accurate. I mean, it's been tested and trusted, and then it's been narrowed to 20 minutes twice a day. And you get all the full benefits as you would if you do like an hour or so. You will still get the benefits.
So for a person looking to reach out, is there more like an address for the office you hold, or is there more like a page online where people could reach out and ask for more information?
Yes, so you can reach me via my full name is Ojeme Okosun, right? So I'm on Facebook, Ojeme Okosun. I'm on Instagram, Ojeme Okosun. I'm on TikTok, Ojeme Okosun. Okay, you can reach me via this handle. And then for now, we've not gotten like an office space, a physical office space yet.
Within the FCT?
Within the FCT, we don't have a physical office space yet, but it's something we are really, really working on to have like almost immediately.
Well, lastly, I have one more question concerning this, concerning transcendental meditation and how it relates to our everyday lives. I'm sure you've heard the term law of attraction. You're very much aware of it. In dealing with law of attraction, where the more you constantly think about something, the more you set your mind to something, it sort of happens, or you sort of attract wealth, or if you're thinking about bad things, you attract bad things. How much of an effect does transcendental meditation, or what are the similarities between transcendental meditation and the law of attraction?
I may not give you a direct answer to that because I don't know.
Okay.
But in transcendental meditation, we align ourselves with the natural law.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with natural law comes law of attraction and every other laws that there is.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, once you align yourself with the main law, which is the natural law, I mean, every other thing will just fall in place. So that's why when I mentioned, spontaneous right action, you spontaneously just make decisions, and they are the right decisions.
Decisions that align with what you want for your life.
It might not be very convenient for you as a person, but then it will align with the natural law, and then it's pushing you towards a good place. Okay? Yeah. That's how it works.
Well, we must thank you once again, Ojeme, for taking our time to share this with us on the program. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.